Yo, what is up, guys? Welcome to GDSC's in 2021 info session. I'm here joined by my fellow co-presenter Jess.
Hey Philip, hey y'all. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to GDSC's info session.
Today we'll be joined with our GDSC lead, Jason, Jeremy, Wijadi, the three J's, Jason, Jeremy, and Jason Christian, and also our lovely lecturer, Sir Jude. We'll also like to include the fact that at the end of this little info session, there will be a little form to get your SAT points and stuff like that. So be sure to stay at the end of the Zoom if you're interested in that kind of stuff and you want to get those SAT points.
So if y'all are here, you're probably wondering what exactly is GDSC. Well, GDSC or Google Developer Student Club is a community of tech developers where we learn about and experience hands-on Google technologies. In today's meeting, we have our very own GDSC lead, Jason, to introduce us to Binus International's very Google Developer Student Club, followed by a short tech talk on multimodal human-computer interface by our beloved lecturer, Sir Jude. And finally, we have a live demo on hosting a game with Google's Firebase technology. So without further ado, let's welcome our first speaker, Binus International's very own GDSC lead, Jason Jeremy Wijadi. Ko JJ, the stage is yours.
All right, thanks Jesse, thanks Philip. Hi everyone, my name is Jason Jeremy and I'm your Google Developer Student Clubs lead for Binus International. I saw the registration form for today's event, and I saw a lot of people, not only from CS, but also IS, BMM, GDNM, and I think I even saw some from fashion. I'm excited for our wide variety of audience today, and I can't wait to share you some more details about us. And today I'll be introducing what GDSC is in general and what our university chapter has been up to. Next slide. So what is GDSC? Next slide. So Google Developer Student Clubs, that's our acronym, are community groups for college and university students interested in Google developer technologies. It's a community to learn together and create solutions for the betterment of everyone. Our main mission is to connect, learn, and grow. And the program itself is supported by Google developers. Next slide. And it's an international community. So GDSC started out first as a pilot program in India, and then later expanded to some parts of Asia, Indonesia being one of the first ones. Later on, it began to expand even more, and now there's more than 1,200 chapters around the globe, and with 61 of them being here in Indonesia. One of them is us. Next slide. Here we have a lot of pictures, a lot of events correlated with GDSC. In the past, we used the name DSC, so without the Google part in front of our name. We had a rebranding this academic year from DSC to GDSC because Google. So that don't get confused between the two. Yeah, they're both the same, just the rebranding. On the top left here, we have the Leaders Summit in Bali back in 2018, I believe. Everybody came and gathered offline to celebrate with many speakers from all over the world, with people such as Herika Hansen, our worldwide GDSC manager, and many more. Unfortunately, in the last 2 years, we haven't had any offline summits because of the condition that we're in right now, but we hope to have one sometime soon. And you can also see on the top right and bottom left, you can see the past core team in our campus at FX, indicating how long we've had this chapter up, which is 2 years, and now we're entering our 3rd year. On the bottom right, you can see our previous lead, Jason Christian, participating in the DSC talk series. That usually happens every couple of months. And yeah, each of the other pictures also tells stories from different parts of the world's GDSCs. Next slide. So when I see these pictures, what I can imagine is a community of like-minded people just interested in tech, in helping others out, and in learning something new. something even out of their own comfort zones. Next slide. So here's our core team for this academic year. There's me on the top left there. Fortunately, we still have our past lead coming in as an advisor for us. We have our presenters, Philip and Jesse, who you've met just now. We have our communications division, Dia and Rachel, working on distributing our events and collaboration with third parties. We have our secretary, Z, dealing with our administration and internal affairs. Our project managers, Steph and Josh, operating on future projects. And last but not least, our designer, Jocelyn, who most of you have seen her work through our social media posts on Instagram. I want to thank them all again for joining in and working hard on this event to make it all possible. And all of us here in the core team are doing our best to deliver for you guys. Next slide. So here's just some of our previous events that we ran last year, including our Android Adventure Quest, which was a few weeks long event where people could come and learn the basics of creating an Android application, something that you can interact directly with your Android phone. We also had a collaboration in the past with another GDSC chapter, GDSC Gunadharma University, on a seminar about building your own DIY smart home with a limited budget, only 500,000 per year. Next slide. We of course have our annual Solution Challenge Info session, more on that a bit later. And our last event to showcase a seminar on AI in collaboration with Himti Senayan, where we got 2 of our core team members and one of our very own lecturers, Ms. Noel, to discuss about AI and the future that it entails. So next slide. So why should you join GDSC as a member? Yeah. Next slide. So connecting with others. As the program itself is something that's global, not only just limited to like some parts of Asia and things like that, our events aren't just limited to collaborations with GDSCs in our own home country, but with other GDSCs around the world as well. Not only that, but we may also invite industry speakers, experienced individuals in the workforce, and other GDSC leads as well, being able to share and ask questions as well as connecting with them. Next slide. There are also a ton of Google technologies that we can explore. On the right part of the slide here is a list of just some of the technologies that Google has to offer. We even had to fit some on the left part of the slide because it was too much. And we may be exploring these technologies in the future to get a real hands-on experience on how to develop with them. Next slide. Some data that we have over here, it's the emerging job reports for Indonesia back in 2020. We don't have the report here for 2021, yeah, unfortunately. But I think it's still representative of the current job market right now. So let's just see how many of them are related to technology. So from the top 10 here, we have cybersecurity specialists, we have DevOps engineer, we have data scientists, JavaScript developer, backend developer, software quality assurance is also part of it. So from the top 10, 6 of them are already related with technology. And this just shows how much IT is still needed and wanted in the job market. And through GDSC, we can also help as the foundation for you guys to start learning a bit more in depth on some of them. Next slide. We also don't want to forget this, yeah. Our beloved Binusian SAT points. You don't want to miss out on not only the information, but also free SAT points by participating in our events in the future. Even our info session today can reward you with SAT points. So don't forget to fill in the form at the end of this session. Next slide. So these are just some things that we've been planning on for future events. We have workshops, seminars, talk shows, code jams, and the big competition later on early next year. All of these will reward you with knowledge and also SAT points along the way. Members who register later on will also get first dibs on info for our future events. So you don't want to miss out on that. So next slide. Now, this is the big information that we've been withholding a bit. So this is the Solution Challenge. So what is the Solution Challenge? It's an event that GDSC hosts annually where teams from all over the world try and solve one or even more of the UN 17 SDGs, or Sustainable Development Goals, using Google technologies. This competition is a definite event that usually starts on the end of January or the start of February. So basically only next year. And teams usually create like web apps or phone applications, websites, but some can even create like proper physical inventions that connect to other devices. Usually the top teams are also awarded with prizes. And this year, everybody in the team for the top three got laptops and also an opportunity to talk with a Google executive. It's a very interesting competition where your team really challenges what you yourself know and what you can implement for the betterment of everyone. Goes line with our goals, yeah. And as an added bonus for Venusians, community service hours are also rewarded for the participating teams, but with terms and conditions, yeah, of course. The details for that are still pending for our own solution challenge info session sometime early next year. Next slide. And actually, out of 820 teams worldwide this year, our team right here from Binus International actually made it to the top 10. And here's the demo video for the solution first before we move on. Philip, you can play? Yeah.
Experience the joy in exercising. Game your fit. Do you ever feel like your body has been sitting around all day for the past year? 2/3 of Indonesians haven't been actively exercising, and Game Your Fit is here to help. Pick a level. Secure the arm strap around your left arm. Go to gameyourfit.com using another device. Enter the room code, and you're all set and ready to play. With our application, you can burn 150 calories in under 15 minutes. That's 60% of the recommended calorie burn by exercising. It can improve your mood, productivity, and of course, your health. We hear you. Calibrating your phone will help improve the quality of the sensors. Want to work out with just one device? Try out our brand new camera game mode for cardio exercises. 2 simple steps. Just set up your phone and have fun. Through the use of various Google services, Game Your Fit aims to motivate you to get active again. Your phone will track your movements using its advanced sensors and let you progress through the levels. WebRTC is used to connect and to communicate between the phone application with the browser game at gameyourfit.com. The camera game uses Google's MLKit real-time pose detection to detect steps and every single movement your body makes to interact with the game. No more accessories needed. Start your journey now. Make sure to push yourself daily and keep your streak going. Download Game Your Fit now.
Right, and that's the video demo for Game Your Fit, one of the top 10 submissions for Solution Challenge this year. So how cool was that? Our team composed of Jason Christian, our advisor, me, Monique, and Ari Fernando represented Indonesia and our campus in the top 10 for the Solution Challenge this year. Remember, there was about like 820 teams that participated worldwide, and we made it to the top 10. And you can watch the whole live stream for the demo day on YouTube. Just search like 2021 Solution Challenge Demo Day, and I think you can find it up. Unfortunately, we didn't make it to the top 3 this year, but I think the accomplishment of reaching top 10 was already a highlight in itself. Me and Monique were in our first year of university when we were working on the app, so around the same time as you guys. So I think nothing's stopping you there if you think that it's too early to join in. So for us here in Binus International, if you think you got a solution that can help everybody, or maybe just even like a specific target market of people, don't hesitate to find a team and join the Solution Challenge next year. More details for that will be on our info session later on, the Solution Challenge info session. And I guess that ends my session. If you have any more questions for us, save it first for our Q&A session at the end. Thank you for listening, and I will bring it back to our presenters. Thank you.
Well, that was a very nice presentation from our lead, JJ, as expected, of course. And that was kind of cute, not gonna lie, like that little slide where he was thanking all of us. You're welcome, JJ.
All right. That's cute. I love that the team from Binus International like got into the top 10. That was so cool. Congratulations to that team. The solution challenge also sounds like a really cool competition. I bet everyone here would like to win a laptop and also like rack up some SAT and ComServe points. Next up, we have a taste of what's to come in the future as a member of GDSC. We have a talk on multi-modal computer interaction by Binus CS lecturer Sir Jude. Sir Jude, you have the stage.
Okay, so hello everyone. Good afternoon. So nice to see you all on a Saturday. My talk will be brief and short and very direct to the point. So hopefully, after learning about a little bit about multimodal HCI, it could actually give you some ideas moving forward to like on the projects that you'd be working on. And maybe, right, just maybe some of the choices that you actually do will be like, yeah, creating something which is similar to what Jason actually did and Monique and their team, right? It's actually very nice application. As long as it doesn't have to be complex, but if it does have a very big impact, and that will actually be very, very good. Okay, so I'm given like, almost 30 minutes perhaps, but I'm quite sure I'll be done within the same time as what Jason actually delivered, like in around 20. So that's okay? Yep. Okay. So, yep. So the topic that I'm going to be delivering today is all about an multi-modal human-computer interaction. Okay, I know that in your semester, majority of this audience that are actually here are in their first semester in uni, right? And if I'm not mistaken, you're actually taking human-computer interaction course. The HCI course previously for your seniors, it was called like multimedia and human-computer interaction. Okay, so this is pretty much related to that same course. Okay, so pretty much supposedly Bagus should be delivering this talk, right? But yeah, in his behalf, okay, I'll be talking about this because I pretty much worked on this topic for the past 3 years. So I work with your seniors, starting from Cindy, which is like Venusian 2019, and then Rehigita, Venusian 2020, and the last one is Fia Faustin, which is Venusian 2021. So we conducted a research on multimodal HCI, and I'm going to be showing you what we did, and at the same time, the technology that we used to actually experiment on a certain framework. But of course, we need to know what multimodal HCI is, or in short, multimodal interaction. So this is not pretty much new to you guys. What the app that Jason and his team created previously is already involving multimodal HCI. Okay, so as per definition, it says it's a situation where the user is provided with multiple modes for interacting with the system. So these modes are pretty much called modalities, right? So there are actually two types of interaction with regards to multimodal HCI. The first one is, of course, it's either computer to human and human to computer. Okay, so for computer to human, this is actually what helps the computer understand what the user wants. So pretty much it actually relies on vision, your gaze, hearing. I mean, you use your, and some tactile abilities such as like what, touch and vibration and all of those things, right? So a few examples could actually be like computer graphics, audio playback, phone vibrations, haptic and tactile feedbacks. Now for human to computers, it's pretty much we actually rely on various mechanisms to communicate. Um, we've been doing this for quite some time already, right? We use a keyboard to actually communicate with the computer. We use a mouse, right? Touch screens, trackpad, easier accessibility, right? And there are even more complex examples, such as your accelerometers, gyroscopes. Correct me if I'm wrong, Jeremy. Did you use gyroscopes for your app?
Yeah, basically from the phone.
Okay, very good, right? And also magnetometers, which actually help with motion detection. So pretty much some research work has already been done by your seniors. One of the earliest multimodal HCI that was developed by one of your seniors was this magnetometer. Okay, so pretty much your phone is actually equipped with it, but it is not widely used as a means for communication. Agree? Pretty much you actually use what? The touch, you use your accelerometers, your gyroscopes. However, for the magnetometer, it's like not many people are actually using its full potential. Maybe they just use it for what? Compass, right? If you use a compass app, it actually uses the magnetometer so that it actually points to the north. So what your senior actually did was quite fun. So he created a ring, which is a magnet, right? The ring is pretty much a magnet, and then it actually he uses his phone and he uses the magnet to interact with the phone. And the funny thing that he created was it was a game wherein you need to punch the face of the lecturer. So just keep on punching until the lecturer gets beaten up. That was pretty much just it, and it was fun. It was nice, right? Okay, so we get to mess up with the faces of our colleagues, right? Because you could snapshot the photo and then put it in the app, and then you could just punch it all the way until that's it, right? So it's pretty fun. Okay, so these are pretty much the two types of multimodal HCI. Now, the other one is there's actually two modes. One is what you call sequential mode, wherein, of course, the users need to switch between modes of interaction, but they cannot do it together. Okay, it's just like one after the other. The other one is called simultaneous, which actually allows the user one mode at a time to interact with the system. For sequential multimodal, it's pretty easy to create. However, for simultaneous multimodal, it's a little bit tricky, and that is the main focus of the research that we actually worked on for the previous years. I do hope that some of you will gain interest and contact me soon, perhaps, and we could actually try continuing the work that we've already started. Okay, right. So okay, these are just some examples, right? So it's pretty much we interact with the computer and the computer perceives it as what? Okay, so it actually sees it as gaze. I mean, sorry, we interact using our eyes, for example. Of course, it's vision, and then we talk. Then, of course, audio is actually being used. Direct touch, most likely vibration, gestures, okay, or maybe facial expressions, proxemics, and this one's a new one, right? Smell. Okay, so pretty much this is actually one of the things that will be looking into in the future. Okay, we seldom communicate with our computer using the sense of smell. Any app actually uses the sense of smell. It's quite difficult, right? Yeah, I haven't actually thought of it as well, but yeah, I mean, this one would actually be challenging. We should have a special sort of sensor for our phones, right? To be able to identify the scent of something. Okay. So, yep. Just some examples, right? Like graphical user interface, which actually relies on our vision to interact. Sorry. And for example, right, if you're accessing the website or a digital billboard, for example, and then you've got like voice interface, which actually relies on pretty much auditory capabilities. Okay, so this actually includes what? The voice assistants such as Alexa, Google Assistant, or Siri, depending on what the unit that you're actually using. Also, in addition, you have haptics, right? Gestures and motion rely on our perception of touch. So these are what you call your tactile abilities. So they trigger an interaction. Okay, so you receive a message, let's say for swiping left or skip a song, for example, right? Um, what is that app that you actually use wherein you need to shake the phone to see if there are people nearby? Or you shake the phone to delete a certain word or something? Have you ever used that app? Not yet, yeah. Yeah, I guess it's not so popular here. Maybe in China. WeChat, I guess it's WeChat. WeChat is the one that you actually need to shake your phone so that you would be able to like search for other people that are actually using the same application. Okay, so those are very simple applications. However, yeah, it's making something. Okay, so if you might ask, where is it used? It's pretty much everywhere, right? Most of the general applications on smartphones are MMI, such as like Google Maps, your browsers, inbuilt application on smartphones, pretty much everywhere. So even if you're playing games, right? So if you have, let's say, for example, a Nintendo Switch and you're playing Breath of the Wild, for example, the very first game that I played on a Switch, and it was really nice. So you use your controller to actually um, trigger an event, right? So first you use the gyros to position where your bow is actually going to point to, and then you click on a button so that it actually fires an arrow. That's already multimodal human computer interface, right? Your smartphone, your smartwatches, pretty much the same thing, right? So most of your daily gadgets are actually capable of handling these interactions already. So starting from your desktops, laptops, smart TVs, thermostats, IoT devices, and etc. Right? It's also pretty much being widely used right now in manufacturing, in health domains, automobiles, construction, enterprise solutions, embedded systems. Pretty much, it's very much widely used. However, yeah, the development of which is most of the things that we're developing right now is actually with gearing to ubiquitous computing, as we call them, right? So we develop apps pretty much not just for the desktop anymore, but for small gadgets and consumer electronic products as well, right? So that's the reason why. Okay, Jason mentioned a while back that you had a seminar workshop regarding or creating a smartphone on a budget, right? So that's already one complex application of multimodal interface, right? Okay, so moving on. Oops. Okay, I'd like to show you the earliest multimodal interface that was created. Imagine that, 1979. So a team of developers, they're still students from MIT actually created an app called Put That There. So it's a voice and gesture interactive system. So without further ado, let me just play it and let's watch it together. Oh, wait, can I share the audio? Can everybody hear it?
Create a yellow circle there. Create a cyan triangle there. Put a magenta square there. Create a blue diamond there. Move that there. Put that there. Move that below that. Move that west of the diamond. Create a large green circle there.
Oops.
Shit.
Sorry about that one.
Restart.
Okay. So this was actually one of the very first applications that was created. So if I would like to ask you, with the technology that you actually have right now, right? Would you be able to develop something like this? Most likely your answer would be yes. I'm quite sure about it. It's gonna be coming like easy, sir, right? There are a lot of APIs available already. There are a lot of like gadgets that we could actually use. Got it? So if you have your Oculus Quest, right, or you have your HoloLens, pretty much very easy to actually create this app already. So imagine how time actually flies, right? This was like in 1979, and you were born like what, 2003, right? Okay, so young minds, great minds. Okay, so moving on, a little bit of background of what I'm actually trying to say is like humans have many ways to communicate, right? We actually talk, we give gestures, right? We touch, and as a result, the communication between humans actually happens very seamlessly most of the time. That is, right? If we're not actually misunderstanding some thoughts, then most of the time it actually happens seamlessly. A little bit of wink, and you know what I mean, right? Got it? So human to human interaction, it's actually very easy and very straightforward, of course. I mean, from the day we're born, we actually learn how to communicate, right? But communication between humans and machines actually require more formality, okay? Because talking to a machine or communicating to a machine, we actually need to let the machine learn and understand what we're actually saying, right? Pretty much when you start learning your very first programming language, we actually talked about what? Translators, compilers, interpreters, right? The voice that I'm actually speaking right now, the computer doesn't understand it. Not unless I convert this analog signal into digital form in the stream of what? Bits, series of zeros and ones. And that's the only time the computer could be able to understand it and then give me some feedback, right? So it's pretty much not straightforward. So a lot of people actually started working on ways on how to how are we able to develop something and be able to communicate with the computer. So if you are interested, let's say, in implementing modality, then these are actually the things that you need to know. These are just four. Maybe there are more, but at the minimum, at least, should at least know these four. First is you should know how to process inputs from different heterogeneous streams. Got it? Meaning, if I inputs from heterogeneous streams, I could input using the keyboard. That's text, right? I could input voice and then convert it into what we have, like text to speech and those things, right? And then I could actually input gestures and then convert these gestures into what? Something that the computer could understand, right? Next thing that we need to know is the coordination and integration of several communication channels. Got it? That operate in parallel. Okay. So if you were to develop, let's say, for example, from the dashboard of the car, right? So pretty much you have, let's say, yeah, touchscreen. You could have gesture interface. You could have voice, or maybe even equip it with a camera so that the facial expression could be detected, for example, right? So pretty much the cars right now, I mean, if you're actually driving, you actually prefer to use voice. Got it? But if your car is parked, then pretty much you prefer touch into the interface that you're actually using. So the next one is, of course, partition of information that sets across several output modalities for the generation of efficient multimodal presentations, which is, of course, fission, as they call it. And yeah, this never gets old, right? Dealing with uncertainty and recognition errors. Okay, so there was this guy that actually came up with some sort of a framework when it comes to developing multimodal human computer interface. Because it's her name. Yeah, she's a girl. Her name is Oviat, Oviatt. And she came up with this framework. Okay, so this is a typical framework information flow for speech and gesture multimodal interface. And it was implemented as a research for a game. Okay, so notice that you have your input analyzers here. So the player actually interacts using two different inputs, gesture and speech, right? So pretty much your gesture is in an analog and speech is in analog as well. So it needs to be interpreted so that the computer could be able to understand. Of course, for gesture, you have gesture interpreters, and for speech, you have language processing. Okay. Now the output will actually be the integration between speech and gesture. So at least while you're trying to play the game, you could actually switch between speech and gesture as well. Okay. And this is what we actually tried to work on with your seniors. This part, okay, because the issue is actually with regards to the integration, right? Because if I'd like to ask you, the speed of, let's say, for example, interpreting voice compared to gesture, pretty much the speed on how the computer actually interprets it, there's always a discrepancy, right? It's always a discrepancy. It's not always like, okay, it's balanced and that thing. There's actually tried looking into going to fix or at least diminish the problem of integration. So it was a thesis work students from Cindy to Rigita and to Fiu. Now notice the trend, all girls, yeah. So it's pretty much, I don't know, maybe they're more into HCI compared to others. But yeah, pretty much so far, I've worked with all of them, and all of them all of the research, actually, we created the paper and submitted it into a conference, and it was presented already, which is very good achievement if you're a student, right? As early as, let's say, your third year or maybe your second year, you're already publishing research work and being known in the community. That's actually very good. Okay, so now the thing that I'd like to tell is, okay, do we still have time? Okay, still good, right? um, so with regards to integration, of course, we need to know what technology we're supposed to use. Now, what available technologies do we have at Binus? Previously, we only have the Leap Motion. Have you ever heard of Leap Motion before? Not yet. And we used, okay, the next slide will actually tell a little bit about what Leap Motion is. And then the Orion SDK. Unity was used by Regita, but not Cindy. Cindy actually used the Orion, and Regita and Fia used Unity. Okay, now for this Leap Motion was actually used for gesture. And then for the speech recognition, we actually use Google's very, very nice to use Google Speech API. And of course, programming of choice, our favorite, Python, right? Do you agree? Your favorite programming language is Python? Yeah, it becomes your favorite after you take data structures and analysis of algorithms, right? Because you don't want to program in C or C++. Okay, but pretty much these are the technologies that we use. So a little bit of description, right? The Leap Motion is a motion sensing technology for HCI. It's designed for hand gesture and finger position detection. So you could actually look it up, how it looks like and how it works. If you'd like to borrow it, yeah, you could borrow it from us. We have 2 Leap Motions available. Although one Leap Motion is still with Feel and she hasn't returned it yet, but we do have it. Okay. And we use Google Speech API. Okay. So it actually just converts spoken text into written text directly, Python strings. So it's very easy to use, right? And we also use PyPy library for performing speech recognition with support for several engines, APIs, both online and offline. So if you're interested in working on multimodal HCI, we have the facilities. Yep. We have our Oculus, we have our HTC goggles. So pretty much available for all of you guys. But yeah, we don't have like 3 or 4 Oculus Quests. Yeah, I guess we only have one from CS, one from graphics design, and so on. So we can actually share, right? So these are some opportunities. Okay. Okay. There's a question here, sir. Is this the same as Connect? Pretty much similar to Connect, Rehan, but it's a very small device. It should actually fit in your pocket. Okay, so these are some opportunities for you to look forward to. Yeah, most often now we actually use or work on extended reality, right? So extended reality is pretty much just the umbrella of augmented reality, virtual reality, and mixed reality. So these technologies integrate virtual and real world components. I guess for your app, Jason, you actually used what? AR? Or is it MR?
No realities yet.
Uh, None yet?
Not yet.
Okay. Okay. So, but pretty much, yeah, you could look into this. And of course, in addition, tangible interfaces. So it's a form of multimodal that exploits the tactile modalities by giving physical form to digital information. It's pretty much cool, right? So then you have ubiquitous computing, as I mentioned a while back, wherein the personal computers disappeared and it's replaced by multitude of wireless, small computing devices embodied in everyday objects. So you could create like what? Smart clothes and those things, right? You could, it's a good reason for CS students to work with fashion design students. right? We do have like Arduino Unos, Raspberry Pis, the lotus flower, which would actually be used to make what smart clothes, for example. Okay. And these are like what my final words already. So the idea behind multimodal design is to combine multiple modalities in order to improve the user experience, right? Our target could actually what the persons with disabilities as well, right? I mean, they couldn't be able to function and use the gadget as is, right? So if you're thinking of like creating something, then there was this app that actually taught the blind to read from the mobile phone, right? So using braille. So it's more tactile in nature. I mean, the surface of the phone is flat. However, if he touches it, it actually vibrates. So he'd be able to read something from the phone, aside from, of course, using audio, right? And one thing that you need to consider as well is it's important to remember that users have a preconceived set of expectations. These are what we call your mental models, right? For how an interaction should occur. So it's like by default, if I touch my touchpad and then swipe up, then pretty much the page should scroll down, right? So those are what the mental models. I mean, by default, we're already trained to do things and stuff. So it's actually good that if we create an alternative, the results would actually be the same and not something new, so that the users would actually not be confused in a way, right? Chat box and voice user interfaces, or what we call conversational user interfaces, pretty much a good thing to look into. So of course, when you talk about chatbots, definitely you have to learn about AI, right? For voice and user interfaces, of course, NLP, natural language processing. It's also good to learn about computer vision. And yeah, to expand your boundaries, you join online communities, right? Such as like what? Google developer groups, which you are in right now, GitHub, which we force you to join from semester one, right? You could actually go for what? Check your ask answers to your homeworks, assignments from in Stack Overflow, Hacker News, Hashnode, learn some new stuff in Free Code Camp, Code Project, and those things. Okay, so with that, I guess I end my talk. Hopefully, you learned something, even if in what very short time, and hopefully, this broadens your mind into thinking of what broader and better solutions for the society. Because our role as IT students, computer science, or other fields, pretty much, but in the field of IT, we're problem solvers, right? So looking forward to working with you all soon, and I'll see you when I see you. Thank you. Right.
Oh, thank you so much, Sir Jude, for that the talk on multimodal HCI. It was really interesting. Um, like, and also thank you so much for the final project inspiration, sir. Uh, 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 it really could be like an interesting topic for all of us. Um, I love how you
Yeah.
collected.
I'd like to make a suggestion. So if you'd like, let's say, for example, you work on a project, right? And then let's say, for example, you've got like different classes. All of those classes have projects. So it's actually nice if you work on one right? I don't know if you could, if it's possible. But yeah, if the requirements are pretty much similar, then feel free to do such a thing. But I
Thank you for the
guess
advice, sir.
it happens more to the semester 3, 4 students. Yeah, but for semester 1, not yet, perhaps. Okay.
That's so cool, sir. I hope we can do that also. I also love how you like connected it to everyday applications such as like the virtual assistants, Google's virtual assistant, Siri, and also the Shake Shake phone one. I believe Line Messenger also has that feature.
Okay.
Right, Philip?
I think so. Yeah. I also was like very interested too, sir. I think I just noticed. I think you like this near automata a lot, sir, because I can see it in your presentation. Well, I
Nah,
don't.
because we're talking about human computer interface. No, I'm just kidding. Okay, I like to be NA2, except 9S. No. Yep. But Nier is really nice. It's a really nice game.
I mean, I haven't played the game myself, but I've heard very good reviews about it. Well, enough talk about games. Well, actually, no.
Yep.
Continuing to talk about games, actually. Uh, After this, we'll be joined by most probably the GOAT of computer science, the man, the myth, the legend, our advisor, Jason Christian. He's gonna be talking about something to do with Google Firebase technologies. So you can have the stage now.
Hello. Am I audible?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone, or good evening. My name is Jason Christian. I'm speaking to you from Molipopuri, from food court right now because the office that I rented is closed for Saturday, so here I am. So sorry for noises. So today we are going to I am going to live demo how to create a simple game in HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So basically, it runs on your browser. So without any further ado, let me share my screen. Can you see it?
Yep.
Okay, nice. Okay. So a lot of you guys who used Chrome, if your internet gets disconnected, you might have known this game. So if your internet got disconnected, you are presented with a dinosaur, right? And if you press that space or you press your mouse, you can play a game, a dinosaur game. So today we are going to create a clone of that. So I call it GDSC cat game, and I believe this is the best GDSC cat game type game out there. So this is it. So as you can see, there's a cat here, and you jump over the rocks. That's pretty much the game. And if you crash, the cat disappears and game over. And you can see your score here, 008. So today I'm going to show you guys how to make this kind of game in HTML and how to deploy it to Firebase so every one of your friends can play it on their browsers. So let's close my Discord first, and then let's get right onto it. So let me copy the repository to this project. So this is the link, and here you should be able to see before and after folder. After is the project once we have finished, and before is the template. So we are going to work with the template. So on the left here, I opened my VS Code, and you guys can see I opened the before file. So here we have 5 files. So one of them is the cat picture, the other is the floor picture, and the other is the rock picture. So let me open this real quick. Open with photo gallery because it's black. Okay, so this is the cat. It is a GIF, so it can move. And the next one is the floor. The floor is very short, so we are going to tile this. So what is tiling? Tiling is placing it like patterns in the browser. And the next one is the rock. I made this project in a fit of panic and stress yesterday in 4 hours. So yeah, okay. So let's continue. And the rest of the files, we have index.html, we have index.js and index.css. So here I have filled out some codes. This is called boilerplate. So what is a boilerplate? Boilerplate is basically like a template code, but it's not really template, but it's really a code that you start with, so you don't really have to start with scratch. So yeah, we have 3 of them, and I'm going to explain them moving forward. So if I open index.html on my browser, this should appear a green and empty browser. So what we're going to do is we are going to fill this with our game. So if we compare this to the finished product, we have a little box here. The box is where we have the game, and then we have some text. So let's add the text and boxes. So let's go back here. And if you guys are interested, just download the code and you can follow along, or you can just watch me on how to do it. So here, let's get into the HTML. We have title, we have the CSS file, and then we have the JS file. We have to place the JS file at the end because we want the JS file to be loaded last, so we can run the code last. So that's the rationale why I put it on the last line. So on the first line of the body here, I'm going to create a div. So in this div, we are going to place our game title, and we are going to place our game. And so I'm going to give this a class. So if you guys don't know what a class is basically you can access your CSS from here. So I'm going to access the middle box class, which is here. This is a flex container. So basically what this does is place everything in the center. So I'm going to put middle box here, and I'm going to close the div, okay? And if I type anything here, and then I type save, and the browser here automatically updates, and we see a text here. So we can put the title here. So to put the title, we are going to create a new h1 tag. And here we are going to write GDSC cat game ever yet. Okay, so when I type save, it should appear here. So it's already really similar. The next box that we are going to create is the game box. So we are going to create the box here in the light green. And I'm going to create a div. And again here, I'm going to create an ID. So ID is a unique identifier to identify this tag. And the ID that I'm going to create is called game. And okay, that should be it. And nothing appeared yet. That's because we have to create a CSS for this. So I'm going to go to index.css. I'm going to create a hashtag game. So here I'm going to create the CSS tag for this. So I'm going to create the actual game stage here. So here I'm going to put a background color. And the background color I'm going to choose is light green. So this is E0FFBD. I'm cheating off my phone right now, so that should be fine. And then the next one that I'm going to create is I'm going to set this width to 100 VW. This means that I want the width of the box to be equal to the width of the browser. So 100 view width. So that should be it. And then I'm going to set the height to, let's say, 360 pixels. If you click save, then there you go. The box appears here. It's that simple. So this is the bare minimum of game. And so in this div, we are going to place our cat, our floor, and everything that we need. So the next one that I'm going to create is the grass. So let's create a new div again. here. Really like div, as you can see, and we don't need to close it. We need it to be ID equals game grass. So you know what's next? We are going to create the grass. And here I'm going to create the grass again, game grass. And I'm going to set a background. So the background should be the file here for the PNG. So URL for PNG. Let's try to press, let's start to save. Oh, it doesn't appear yet. That's because we haven't set the width and the height. So for the width, I'm going to set 120 VW, so 120% of the browser window. Why? I'll tell you later. So the height, I'm going to set this equals to the file height. So the file height is 32 pixels. And if I click save, okay, it appears, but everything is messed up because we have these ugly scroll bars. So these ugly scroll bars can be deleted by adding a new class in the game. So I'm going to type overflow hidden. And if I type save, hey, it's gone and everything is fine. But you can see the floor is up here and we don't want it to be up there. We want it to be down there. And so I'm going to position the grass as absolute. What does absolute do? Absolute just means that we tell the browser that we want to place it anywhere in the box. So if I click save, uh, it is still like this, but that's fine because we want to place it now. So we want to place it bottom. Let's say we want to place it 5% from the bottom. If I click enter, oh, now it's all messed up. But that's because we haven't set up another parameter in game. And then that parameter in the game is position relative. So relative is anything that we place in game stays in game. So this grass, as you can see here, it goes outside of the game tag. We don't want it to be outside. We want it to be in. So that's why we place relative. So when we save, it got fixed and everything is pretty. So we can see the floor is doubled here. We don't want it to be doubled. So in the background, we can add something new. We call repeat X. So what is repeat X? Repeat X is basically we tell the browser that we want the tile to repeat in the horizontal directions only. So save and okay, looking very similar. Okay, so next we can add the cat. So game cat. So game cat. Again, I'm going to be fast because we are running out of time. Game cat position absolute again because we want to place it anywhere. We want to set the content. Content is URL. We want to upload the cat, so cat get div, and we want to place it bottom 10%. So you guys can play with the numbers, see where you like the cat to be. I already made this yesterday, so I know everything. And we set it left 64 pixels. And type enter. Oh yeah, that's right. We haven't added the cat div yet. So let me add it. Div ID game cat. Okay, it's there. The cat is there. Really nice. So that's for the cat. And next, we want to add the rock. So game rock. I dot instead of a hashtag. That's because we are going to have rock in our game. So if we use hashtag, this is for one button up to every rock. So that's why we use dot. So let's do it again. Position absolute. And then content. URL rock.png. And then bottom 8%. So we place it there. And that's it for the rock. So Let's try spawning in the rock. So let's set it to, like, for example, 300 pixels. We're going to index and we add the rock. Div class game rock. And we click save. It doesn't appear. It, wait. I think something is wrong, but that's fine. Oh, okay. The rock is there. Apparently, you have to close the HTML tags. Don't leave them open. So keep it like this. Okay. We are sure the rock is there, but we don't want the rock to immediately spawn, right? So we should delete the rock and leave it for later. And I think we should set animations now. So we want the cat to jump, right? And we need the floor to move. So let's create the floor first. So we are going to create something called move left. And here we are going to create an animation. So the animation is called move left. It should be completed in 0.5 seconds and it's linear and infinite. So linear here is the interpolation. Basically, we want it to be straight and it doesn't speed up or slow down. And infinite here means that it repeats infinitely. And now we are going to create the actual animation. So to create an animation, we type keyframes and then we type move left, the name of our animation. And we are going to type from left 0 pixels to left minus means that we want floor to move from left 0 pixels to left minus 25.6 pixels in 0.5 seconds. So to test this, we should add this tag to the floor. So this is the floor, right? The grass. So I'm going to type class and game. It's called move left. Okay, move left. And if I click save, hey, it moves. So you can see on the right here, it's kind of choppy. That's because the width is basically too small. So we need to make it bigger. So we should make the game grass width to be 150, for example. And you can see that it's fixed. And that's it for the cat and the grass. So next, I'm going to copy this, but I'm going to make this for the rock. So I'm going to name this move rock. And because the rock moves farther away, it has to move from one side of the browser to the other side. I'm going to make this right. Why right? Because the rock starts on the right. And I'm going to modify the 2 here to be 5120. Why 5120? Because it's a large number, so the rock should have time to be able to travel from one end to the browser or to the end. And let's make move rock here too. Oh no, we don't need it. We can automatically insert it into game rock. So animation move rock 10 seconds and linear. And I calculate the rock here, send the rock if class game rock, and then close div. If we save, the rock should appear on the right, and then it will move and hit the cat. So ready, save. Of course, it doesn't work. Okay, hey, let's troubleshoot why it doesn't work. Oh, that's because we set it left. We should delete it. So let me confirm everything is right. And I think that's right. Let's save. Okay. Okay. Wait. It doesn't work. So there is obviously something wrong. Let me try to comment this. And okay, suddenly it works. I think that's because the refresh browser has issues. So if you keep refreshing the browser, the rock should appear and it is gone. And that's basically the basics to our rock. So I think that's everything for the cat, the rock, and the floor. So next, let's create the actual code for the game. So we are going to move on to JavaScript. And before we create the code, we should add a scoreboard here. So I'm going to create an H2 here, heading 2. So I'm going to type score, and then it should appear there. Then here, I'm going to create a span. What is a span? So a span is an element that you can put in the text, and everything you type in the span will appear next to the text. So that's cool. But why should we use a span? Why can't we just use this? That's because in the span, we can access it from code and edit the span directly instead of editing the score text itself. So I'm going to give this an ID, and the ID is the score span. Okay, that's it. And so we can type the score here. Okay, that should be it. And I think that's for CSS and HTML. Oh yeah. Before we move on, we should delete the floor, move left, because we don't want it to move yet. We want it to move once the game starts. And I'm going to make the cat disappear. So how to make it disappear? I'm going to add a class called gone, and it disappears. And I'm also going to delete the rock. And everything is the same like that. So we are going to add, we are going to move the grass programmatically to JavaScript. So let's do that now. So here, this is a boilerplate for the JavaScript that I've made. And so this is everything that we need now. We have score, we have started, ended, is jumping. So all the variables here tells the state of the game. So have the game started yet? Have the game ended yet? Is the cat jumping or not? So this will help us do checking. And the checking is essential so we can do things more easily. So here at the bottom, we have game start, game end, update score, spawn drop, cat jump. It's self-explanatory in the title, and we have a utility function here called random range. This is basically a function so that you can generate a random number. The number minimum is in the parameter and max is in the parameter too. It's really simple. And here we have the event listeners. What is this? This is basically will catch if you click on the game or you press a key on your keyboard. So in this case, document at event listener key down and event key equals space. So this is basically will detect your spacebar. So here I'm going to create the code. So if the game has not started, then we start the game. Game start. So if we click space in the browser and the game hasn't started yet, we will start the game. Else, if the game has started, then we will make the cat jump. That's it. And I'll copy this real quick and paste it here too, because we don't want it to be space only. Let's think about the mobile users, guys. They don't have space bars, so but they can touch the div. So that's what we are going to do. Hello. Okay. So do you guys see the kid? There's like a kid beside me. Okay. Next is okay. So we can do it with mouse too. So yeah, that's that. So let's start making the game start, and yeah, let's make that. So in the game start, we are going to start it to be true. This is so that when we run game start, the game will be started, and if we click space again or we click the browser, we will go to cap jump instead of game start. So that's that. And in the game start, we are going to update our score. So let's open the Google Dinosaur game real quick. So let's search this, go to here, and if we press space, a score will appear on the top right, and it increases every several seconds. So we are going to replicate the same as that. So here I'm going to call a function called setInterval. This is already in JavaScript. So that's that. The setInterval function is an interesting one because it allows you to execute a piece of code that you enter in, and then it will execute that piece of code every several seconds, every time you want it to be. So I'm going to make a function here. So this is called an arrow function. So basically we are passing in a function into this function. It sounds really funny, but that's how it works. So here we can, so basically anything that I put here, it will be run every second that I want it to be. So how many seconds do I want it to be repeated? I'm going to put it here, 100. So this code will run every 100 milliseconds. So that's how it works. What are we going to put here? I'm going to put score plus equals 1. So every 100 milliseconds, the score will update by 1. And we are going to update our score. So let's do update score. So in update score, we are going to modify the HTML file here. So you can see that we have created the span. So this is where the span will come in. So let's remember the name, ID, score span. So this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to type document dot get element by ID, and I'm going to paste it here. So what this will do is this will convert this tag, this HTML tag, into a variable that we can use. So let's store it here. Once score div equals that, and then semicolon, and then we can do anything we want here. So I'm going to modify the span. So I'm going to score div dot inner text. So inner text is the text that is contained inside the div. So if I type blah 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 here, then blah 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 will be the inner text. So we are going to modify that into the current score. Then let's click save. And we haven't actually run the code yet. We don't know if it works or not. So let's go to the browser and press space. It doesn't work. Yeah, let's see if there's any error. Okay, we have an error. Game div is not defined. That's because I did something wrong here. So game div, we haven't actually created the variable game div. So let's create that real quick. So scroll to the top here, fonts, game div. And in the game div, I'm going to repeat here document, get element by ID. And here, I'm going to put the game box. So the game box here is game. So game. So what this does is, it will add a listener to the game tag here. So if we click it, mouse down, it will do the same script. So if you press here, the game will start. You can see the score is going up now. So we know that the score works. So the scoring works, but we are going to place this set interval function into a variable, the return value of it at least. We are going to put it in the score updater function, because in the game end function, we want to cancel this function from running, because currently everything that it is in here, it is running every 100 milliseconds. And if the game ends, we have to stop it somehow, right? So to stop it, we have to put it here in the variable. And in the game end, I'm going to clear it. I'm going to stop it by typing clear interval score updater. And that's it. But we haven't called the game end yet, so let's get back to that. Okay, the scoring works. Now let's get into moving the cat and moving the grass. So here, I'm going to create a reference to the cat. So I'm going to create const cat diff equals document get element by ID, and the ID of the cat is game cat. So game cat. I'm going to do the same to the grass. So I'm going to type floor diff, and the floor diff will be game grass. Okay, so in the code, let's move it. So cat diff. So remember when in the grass, we add a new class here, and we can type move left, and the grass will move. So we are going to do that programmatically. How? So this is what you do. So floor diff dot class list. So class is the HTML class, and you're going to add move left. So if I save and I press space here, the ground will move and the score will start. So I'm going to do the same with the cat, because the cat is gone, right? We are going to remove this tag. So cat diff dot class list dot remove, remove, and move and gone. So let's run it again, and the cat is there, but the cat can't jump yet. So we are going to do that next. So in cat jump, so cat jump will be called if we press enter again, right? Space. So let's do this next. So in cat jump, let me see where cat jump is. Okay. So we have a helper function. Helper variable is jumping here. So we are going to use is jumping to keep track of everything. So if the cat is not jumping, then we make the cat jump. So is jumping equals true. And then in the cat diff, we are going to add into the class list. We are going to add the animation of the cat jumping. Oh, we haven't actually made it. So let's make cat jump. So I'm going to place it here. Cat jump. And let's see where it is. Cat jump. So animation. Cat jump. 0.8 seconds is 1. So here I entered linear, but here I entered is. That's because we want the cat jumping to be smooth, and it is repeated only one time. So let's create the keyframes for cat jump. Cat jump. 0%. So this is a little bit unique because we want the cat to go from down, up, and then down again. So we have three states. The first one is 0%. The second one is 50%. And the last one is 100%. The percent represents the progression of the animation. So 0%, we want the cat to be in the ground. And then 50%, we want the cat to be in the air. So let's translate the cat. Translate means move in plain English. And the last one, 100%, we are going to place the cat back on the ground. So let's go back to the script. We are going to add cat jumps to the process. So when we press enter and then we press space again, the cat jumps. But if I press space again, it doesn't work. That's because we haven't removed the cat jump. So when we add cat jump again, it'll just not work. So we have to remove cat jump. We have to remove cat jump after the cat has jumped, and we have to set this to false too. So how do we do that? We have another JavaScript function to do that, and that's called set timeout. So set timeout is really similar to set interval, except that set timeout only does it once and it will add a delay. So how much the delay that we want? So we set the animation here, the cat jumping, to be 0.8 seconds, right? So we are going to type 800 milliseconds here. So we sync with the time of the cat jumping. And in the script here, that will be run after 800 milliseconds of the cat first jump, we are going to remove cat jump. So remove, and then we set the is jumping variable to be false. So save, then space, and then the cat is able to jump and it's able to stop. So that's that for the cat.
Hey Jason, I think
Uh-huh.
you can continue the rest later. Maybe you can just share the GitHub, like show the GitHub repository if you want,
Uh-huh.
because we haven't a lot of time left, so you can do it
Okay,
if you want.
I guess we can do that. I'll make a recording and I'll place it in the GitHub repository, I guess. So I'm really sorry. My time has passed 30 minutes, so I will make a video to make it up. So that's fine. So yeah, I will place it. I will place the video in the GitHub repository so you guys can update it. It should be up by tomorrow night. So yeah, that's that. In the video, I will talk about deploying the application to Firebase hosting, and we will be finishing the actual cat game. So that's it from me. Really sorry. Thank you, guys.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jason. Well, as you can tell, guys, he's very passionate about coding, and it just reflects on the fact that, hey, he's our GDSC lead, and I'm very thankful to have him on our team as always. And I mean, look at Jason, man, so inspirational. Now is our Q&A session. So if you have any questions concerning GDSC and all that, you can join the Slido right here. You can just go to the website, or you can scan the QR code if you want. I will give you some time to put in some questions and stuff, and then we'll answer it together. Sorry, guys, there's a bird in the window. My bad. Don't mean to be distracted. How do we join GDSC? Well, if you want to apply for GDSC, the registration form would be, well, you can register to be a member, but not an actual core team of GDSC. If you want to be a core team for GDSC, you would have to wait for When is it again, JJ? Next semester or is it next year?
Yeah, it should be next academic year. Yeah, so next July for core teams.
Yeah.
But for members, it's gonna be the form after this.
Will there be more seminars for GDSC? Yes, most likely. You can catch us at our social medias. If you want to keep up with all of our GDSC activities, we have a YouTube, we have an Instagram. Is there any register fee for GDSC? Because I'm broke. We all been through that. No, there is not. You can technically apply for free if you want, and at the added benefit of possibly getting SAT points or what's it called? The community service hours. Can we join Sir Jude's research team? What is that? What I read. Oh,
And for that, I think you have to ask Sir Jude himself. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, still haven't left yet. Almost.
Are we allowed to join GDSC if we're also involved in other organizations? Yes, you can. Me and Jess, I'm in BIEL and also GDSC, whereas Jess is in both RoboGals and GDSC. So yeah, you can join more than one organization. Is there any requirement to join the solution challenge? JJ, I don't know much about the solution challenge, so you can answer this question if you want.
So for the solution challenge, usually it's max team of 4 people. And then after that, yeah, I think that's the only requirement, see, with one of them being at least a part of the GDSC, either as a member or a core team, or maybe even the lead.
At least one person in the team should be a GDSC member.
Yeah, decent setup.
Or can I apply to be a member? You can apply to be a member later at the end of this meeting. There will be a little Google Forms, so just wait a bit. Can lecture join GDSC core team? I don't think so, sadly.
Is this question from Sir Jude? If Sir Jude want to join, can we accommodate?
Maybe later on, yeah.
Let's see. Is there any where can I apply? Remember, can lecture. Okay, I think. Are there lots of tasks for GDSC members? I guess. I mean, it depends on your role, obviously. Everybody's delegated work. Wait, actually, sorry, not core team members. Yeah.
Members.
Oh, whoops, my bad. Wait, how does this work again, JJ? For members?
Oh,
I'm kinda stupid.
for members, just you're gonna be invited, I think, to a WhatsApp group later on, and then after that we're gonna share the information for our events later on, for seminars, talk shows, things like that. And so there's no like real task, but if you want to join, you get first dibs on the info. That's the main advantage.
Yeah.
Plus SAT points.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Are there any more questions? Maybe the chat? No? What are the benefits from being a member? As the aforementioned benefits would be you get first dibs on joining events, and you would know when events are gonna take place before other people are gonna know. And what else, JJ?
Yeah, that's basically it. And you can be like you can have access to the solution challenge for next year.
Yeah. Are there any more questions?
I guess we can wrap it up.
All right. Let's see here. Hold up, give me a second. And here's the attendance and member registration form if you want to apply for being a member or you want to get your attendance to get your SAT points. So take a look at this little thing. And you can just get the QR code and then bada bing, bada boom, just like that.
So for member registrations, that's also part of the attendance form. Yeah. So if you want to apply as a member, I think there's a checklist as one of the form questions. So just take that off.
Yeah.
And yeah. Oh yeah. guess we want to have a photo session first before we.
Oh
move
yeah,
off.
whoops, my bad. I forgot about that. Whoops.
So I think we can close this off first, and then we can show it again after the photo session.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Right.
So can you all please turn on your cameras for the photo session?
Hello everyone,
I believe it
please
will be
turn
on.
your cameras and please put on your best pose. All right, I'll be taking the pictures for the slide 1 on 1, 2, 3. All right, moving on to slide 2. And okay, that's it. Thank you, everyone.
All right, I'll share my screen again to the thing. Whoops, my bad, boys. In case you guys haven't filled the register attendance and all that.
So we're gonna open this until 3:45. Yeah. After that, we can end the meeting. So yeah, thank you everybody who's joined for today. Philip and Jesse, you wanna close it off?
Yeah, that's it for our first GDSC info session. I'm glad that the amount of people and the variety of people that came. Big thanks to the obviously the core team and especially the speakers, JJ, Jason, and Sir Jude. Did an excellent job in my opinion, and I think that wraps it up for our info session. Thank you for coming, guys.
Oh, thank you for coming, guys.